Welcome sports fans, welcome back to this or that Sports TV, the place you guys come to get the best, most interesting and everything sports topics, discussions and debates on the internet. Before we get into today's analysis, don't forget to like this one, leave a comment, subscribe to this or that Sports TV, and do one more thing, and that's to share the video to at least 10 people, but get us 6 subscribers. Because if each and every one of you guys can manage to do that, do you know how many subscribers that would get us by the end of the day? Whole heap. People, I'm Rush and I'm here to do another post-game analysis. It's Manning Cup time. I want to know that already. We're well in the swing of things. It's the round of 16, and I went to a round of 16 game. It's St. George's College versus Mona at JC. You know, this was played at the Ashtonheim Stadium. Yes, I went to the game today. It was actually an entertaining game, very entertaining. Mona knew that they were all but through to the quarterfinals. They won their first 2 games. A lot would have to go wrong for Mona to not make it. Georges only won 1 game. Campion only won 1 game. Both of them, St. George's College would have to beat Mona by an unimaginable number. And Campion would also have to beat St. Jago by an unimaginable number, which we knew weren't going to happen. So this game was kind of academic, but we still had to play the game. You see me? So let's get into the swing of things, people. Make sure to like the video, make sure to share, do all of that. Let's get into it. So the game started on the Mona side of things. Mona started a bit slow. They were playing their usual we don't call it Brazilian box or whatever. They were playing their usual system. They were playing their usual formation. They lined up with 3 at the back. You know, they had Robina Garden anchoring, you know, Peralta another right central defender. They don't really play with left and right backs. They don't play with wing backs. 3 defenders at the back, and then they have 2 defensive midfielders, 2 attacking midfielders, 1 left winger, 1 right winger, and a forward. That's how Mona set up today. And what they were trying to do was obviously dominate the game in terms of keep the ball, yes, but still use their transition play to hit channels and to get the ball out wide to their wingers. This is what you see from Mona. It's almost like they try to do the same thing over and over and over. Once the midfielders get the balls, it's always about 2 passes. It's always about getting the ball to your winger to get them isolated with the wing back. And my did it work today. They started the game a bit slow, as I said, but I think this is something that Mona can work on actually. Start the games a bit faster. I don't know if it take them a little while to realize that they're actually better than most teams that they're going to play, if not better than all teams that they're going to play. So it usually take them a little bit of time to get up to the speed of the game, and then once they get into the flow of things, Mona is just a moving train that they can't stop. You see me? So they started today dominating the game, dominating the midfield, and one thing about Mona, they are going to press you. You see me? So Mona started the game with them high press. Georges couldn't play the ball out, and after a while Georges stopped trying to play the ball out. It was all long kicks. It was all trying to play the ball over the top, because as soon as them have the ball run at the back, me I talk about everybody, Harris and Mackenzie and Leighton, all of them just attack all at once and high press you, win the ball from him and go forward. And that's actually a good way. When I think about it, that's actually a good way to play in the Manning Cup, you know, because not many teams are in a position where they can have ball handlers at every position, or good ball handlers at every position across the pitch or up the pitch. You see me? So if you press those defenders, if you get them to make their decisions faster, they're going to make more mistakes. And I think that's where Mona won this game today. Them ask Georges making a decision fast. Can't make a bad touch, don't make a mistake. Or we're a dip on them. And they want the ball high, they transition and get the ball into their forwards, into their wingers very fast. And those wingers isolated the wing backs. The Georges never really had double up their wingers. Well, I get to the Georges side of things, which Georges was a little bit disappointing, especially in the first half. But it's almost like Mona was allowed to do anything that they wanted to do. And don't get me wrong, I understand Mona is not an easy team to stop. You see me? But I didn't see much from the Georges side of things, which, as I said, I'll get into soon. But Mona started the game well, as I said, getting into the high press, playing the ball in transition, getting their attackers in and goal early. And yeah, Georges couldn't stop it. On the Georges side of things, they started well. If me I go to be honest, by their standards. So obviously when I talk about Mona according to their standards. How well they can play and how well they start the game. I think they start slow most games that I see them. In terms of St. George's College, you know, according to their standards, I think they started the game decent. You get me? I said they were remaining solid. Let's me talk about the first 5 to 10 minutes. They were remaining solid. They were keeping it tight. They getting the ball to their midfielders, but they just couldn't play the ball out, unfortunately. And the thing with St. George's College is I don't think that they have this is not their greatest team. I won't go too far and make it sound like me I insult them. But Georges do have the greatest team. They do have the most talented team. They have some players, scattered throughout the park. But in terms of a comprehensive good unit, that's not St. George's College this year. And unfortunately, they're out of the competition. They came into the game with a standard 4-3-3. The midfield was lightweight, too many loose touches into the midfield. They were trying to play the ball into the midfield, turn and get the ball over the top, and it was mainly over the top balls to their wingers and forward. Never did that work. Especially against a midfield where make up of D'Souza and Carlton Brown. You're not really get much space in that midfielder. So I feel like they struggled a bit trying to get the ball into Zabir Taylor, who was one of the only players that on that Georges team that I believe attempted to try to do anything out of the ordinary. Everything else was predictable, everything else was slow, everything else was just a bit sloppy, and Mona pounced on that. So on the Georges side of things, as I said, started with their 4-3-3, tried to get the ball to the midfield, tried to get the ball over the top to their forwards, just wasn't working. Quick recap of the game. Game started well, you could see that it was shaping up to be a good contest, especially in the first 5-10 minutes. Mona had the ball in front of the Georges defense for the whole time. Me I talk about if they didn't transition the ball up there, they were just pressing them and winning the ball high up the park. You see me? So Mona had the ball high up the park for the most parts. They started the game one an early penalty. Who won the penalty? Javier Dunn won a penalty for Mona High School. Sean Layton stepped up. Poor penalty. Goalkeeper saved it from Georges, and Georges got a little bit of winning in them. Tried to pick it up, tried to pick the pace up, still never worked. Shortly after, Mona got their first goal. Who scored the first goal? The first goal was scored by Demarian Harris. Beautiful ball. Sean Layton today, after he missed that penalty, his team was trying to get him up. His coaches were trying to get him back up and into the game, and he made the second goal. Got a ball from Kishian Garden, made a good turn, played the ball into Demarian Harris, who slotted it into the bottom corner. Very, very well composed goal. You see me? So Sean Layton assisted that first goal. The second goal was scored by Denzel McKenzie. It was assisted by Kishian Garden. Now I get into the Mona attitude, but Kishian Garden is just a player that's filled with talent, man. You can see every time he plays unlimited potential. And today he showed that in spurts. You see it? So played a wonderful ball into Denzel McKenzie, who Denzel McKenzie are just class, bro. Made a reverse run, got one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper never have a chance. Take it with him left foot. Denzel McKenzie left foot to right foot, it really don't matter. Took his chance well, and that's as far as it go. Half time came, Georges were down. I heard both teams team talk. Mona was more of continue for press, continue for do Onado. Georges was more of when Unaga decide, if you quote Coach Bell, it was when Unaga decide to the man and not score power no more. When Unaga decides, say, I don't care what is happening, I'm not conceding. And it was more asking for heart and fight from his team. And I think he got a bit of that in the second half. So Georges picked it up in the second half. Georges got a lot of chances. Georges created a lot for themselves. They actually scored 2 offside goals. You see me? A lot of people wouldn't know that. So Mona were leading 2-0 for most of the game. They got a third goal in the latter parts of the game. Georges got scored 2 offside goals. One of them were a bit close. And they took a lot more shots. Zabir Taylor literally took the game in his hands. Make it 1-2. Ask him back for the ball right away. And he created a bit of a decent amount of chances for his team. And I think he actually, it was Matthew Spence that scored one of the offside goals. So Georges came out in the second half, looked at different team. Mona, I think, got a bit tired in the second half. It's either tired or something else, or complacency or whatever, but they just knew that they won the game. So it was, we I get forward and we I get chances. Don't get me wrong, Mona created way more chances than Georges, even in the second half. But Georges were in the game. Mona only scored 1 goal in the second half. I feel like Georges were holding them out for as long as they can. They held them off. And then when the game just got a bit stretched, Georges trying to commit numbers forward. Georges trying to score a goal at least. Mona got in on the wings on the wing with Javier Dunn, who took his goal nicely. Very good player that also made a step forward. Now let's talk about a few players on the park today. And who stood out, on the Mona side of things, Robina Garden. I feel like I'm going to talk about him every single game. That is just a class act. And I feel like he's going to give anybody, a run for their money in terms of most valuable player in the Manning Cup this year. He is just a rock at the back of Mona's defense. It's as I said in the last video, it's almost like he's playing defense by himself. Not that he doesn't have help, but whenever there's a last gas tackle to be made, it's Robina Garden. Whenever there's a cross into the box and somebody needs to get them head on the ball or else it's going to fall to the opponent, it's Robina Garden. Whenever the ball is being played out from the back and you need a line splitting pass into midfield, it's Robina Garden. It's almost like it's just Robina Garden, marshalling everything, and his team has so much trust in him that they will allow him to stay back and everybody else to get forward. He doesn't get forward much. He's so composed. Every pass was accurate. Every tackle was accurate. He didn't make a mistake. In the second half, obviously, Mona got concede chances just because of how them play. And if teams manage to tweak just their system going forward and try to utilize the space that they have in front of Mona defense, then you're going to get a lot of chances from Mona because they only defend with 3 defenders. Obviously, they have the 2 in front, but if Mona will feel like they can beat anybody on any given day, so they're going to try to impose themselves on the game. But from the opponent's standpoint, which I think is what Georges did in the second half, although they were defensively a bit more solid than they were in the first half, second half they were not as predictable as they were in the first half, and they showed a bit more heart. They showed a bit more fight. First half, Georges lacked heart. We never seen no fight from Georges in the first half. It's almost like them come and them like roll over. I mean by them, I just mean by them play. They were not doing anything, and clearly Georges was better than what I saw in the first half. Went in 2-0 down, come out, show a bit more fight, got into the game, but Mona was just class. Mona was just so better than them. So, first one was Robina Garden. Second player I want to talk about is Javier Dunn. A player that them call Wheeler. I gave him man of the match. Somebody challenged me and say, no, it's Robina Garden. And Robina Garden is going to be in the conversation for man of the match every single game. But I just thought that this player, even though it never did that work for him throughout the whole game, he was always there. He was always a threat. He was always terrorizing them. He was always getting in behind the defense. He won the penalty in the first half, and he got on the score sheet for the 3rd goal. I just couldn't find it in me for get another player, the man of the match, straight up. You see me, he got his chance, he took it. He was very skillful, very tricky player, very composed. I like what I'm seeing from Javier Dunn. Very small player though, very small in stature, but has a big game. Have a big game and have a very good shot on him. You see me, fast, tricky, skillful Javier Dunn. People look out for the Mona number 15, Javier Dunn. One more Mona player we can talk about. Who else had a really good game today? I feel like Dante Peralta had a good game today too. Dante Peralta never put a foot wrong today. He didn't get much to do, if may I be totally honest. In the second half he got a bit, but in the first half he never get nothing to do. Dante Peralta, his passes were good today, his touch was good today. I feel like that's the most important part of Dante's game that he can improve. Just his first touch. I feel like his first touch get him in trouble so many times. If he can get that first touch, if he just be a bit cleaner, I think that alone can take him game to the next level. He's a quick player, very athletic. I think he knows the game. It's just that, as I say, touch get him in a problem a lot of the times. And once he improve that, can be a really, really good player. Played good today, defended well, his passes were on point, his runs were on point. Whenever him get forward, it was on point. Led his team well, I must say that, along with Robina Garden and Denzel McKenzie. They led Mona well today. Whenever somebody head drop, it would have been Dante. Dante was talking well, his communication is impeccable. He's always saying the right things, he's always encouraging his team. So I have to say big up to Dante Peralta. On the Georges side of things now, I'm going to talk about a few players, maybe 2 or 3. The first one is Zabir Taylor, who in the first half, man, him just did seem a little bit lightweight. You see me, and the press from Carlton Brown and De Souza just see that. And the pressure that eat him up, him couldn't turn, him couldn't get the ball out of him foot. Him that fair play one touch every single time. Him that fair play return balls, wall passes every single time. Because him just couldn't get the space in the midfield. He drifted out of the midfield. One at a time, him dip on the left. I don't know if him realized, but it's almost like him play left midfield one at a time because there was just no space in that midfield. And that's one thing that Mona does well. You see me, them pack up the midfield with 4 players in there. I mean, I talk about left midfield and right midfield. I mean, I talk about 4 central midfielders, 2 defensive and 2 attacking. You see me, so there was just no space in there for Zabir Taylor. But in the second half, though, Zabir Taylor came alive. You know, maybe him realize him last game in at the Manning Cup. Obviously, I think they'll have the Walker Cup to play. But Zabir Taylor in the second half running the show, man, running the show, creating chances left and right, you know, taking on players, you know, beating players, making good runs. Very, very good game from Zabir Taylor. Another player I highlight is Matthew Spence, who also, I believe, had a poor first half. Touches were awful, runs were awful, never offer much to him team. In the second half, though, as I say, him score one of the offside goal. He was making good runs, making good passes. As I say, then when I realized, say, yo, they are getting knocked out now, and them just have to show something. You know, and I think those 2 players out of anybody else showed some heart, and they played really well. Their number 16 at the back is also another good player. He defensively he did well. You know, he was always faced up with somebody, and I feel like he tried his best, he tried his hardest. He has some quality on him, but I feel like all round, you know, George just not have the quality all around the park for win a game like this against Mona. The final person I'm going to talk about today is not even a player. It's Neville Bell. And maybe this should be a whole different video, but I feel like Neville Bell is obviously, we know his pedigree, we know he's a serial champion, we know that he schoolboy football trophies all the time. We get all of that. It's been a while now since Georges has put in a really good season. Obviously, this year is no fault of his. His team is just not at the level that you'd want St. George's College to be, I believe. But today, I feel like coach got his team to make a valiant effort. You know, given the resources that, you know, he has. He came out, he coached well, he was standing up for the entire time, encouraging the boys, because it's so hard, people. When you go in a game and you know, say, yo, you play against the best team in the competition and you need a win just to even have a chance, and even if you lose, well, not even lose, even if you draw, you know you're really out. It's so hard to get the boys up and get them to play, you know, but I feel like he encouraged them well. Yeah, got the boys to play in the second half especially, and I'm so impressed with what Coach Bell did in the second half. Always a cool head, always a calm head, you know, always looking out for even the opponents on the park, which maybe I'm gonna say it surprised me because he's done it all the time, but he's just always he always has the right attitude that a coach should have. I feel like Neville Bell, you see me, always the cool, calm demeanor on the sidelines. One time one of the Mona players went down after, I think, like he almost pulled his grinder or something, and Coach Bell was one of the first persons down the touchline, you know, looking on, wondering what is going on, you see me. So I feel like Coach Bell gave a good showing of himself today, even though his team lost 3-0. Yeah, that's as far as I can go in terms of this game. As I say, just a summary or a conclusion of what happened today. Game started, Mona started a bit slow, picked it up in the first half, got penalties, got chances, scored 2 goals, went in at halftime 2-0, came out, Georges step it up, Georges have fight them off for most of the second half. Mona got their 3rd goal, Georges scored 2 offside goal. Yeah, that's as far as it can go. Attitude, me did say me talk about the Mona attitude. And Mona is one of those teams that, man, Mona is so talented, man, and every time I see them I'm so impressed just with the individual talent that they have, but sometimes their team game let them down. And even though Mona play good, I feel like they can play so much better. Honestly, people, Mona can play so much better. I'ma say that because I've seen Mona play freely before. Me see that with my own 2 years. I'ma see what them man can do. Me see Mona play with smiles on them face. Today not one man did a smile, bro. And that it kind of concerned me when I say, why Mona play so angry? Why are so much arguing? Why are so much? I mean, not argue amongst themselves. You know, I mean with opposing players or with the referee or just the ball run out. You know, a ball get overhit or whatever, and a man kiss him teeth, I complain instead of get back, or you know, opponent kick with the ball and I complain. You're up 3-0 or 2-0. You see me? And I feel like too many players on the park were angry today, and I feel like that took away from what we could have seen from a Mona team. I feel like Mona should do better to play with smiles on their faces. Mona should do better to be as free as possible, because when it comes to talent, not many teams can come to Mona and play better than them. they do have more talent than the Mona team, especially in the Money Cup. Not many teams can say that, if any can say that. So just that if anybody from Mona is watching this video right now, that's the thing with me that want Mona work on. The attitude. Play a bit more happy, play a bit more freely, if I say. Play with a bit more, zeal for the game. I know no good, I know no can play ball. But enjoy your football, man. It seem like you're not enjoying the football. It seem like you're not fight the game a little bit too much. Obviously the quality will overpower most people, but there's just another level to go with this Mona team. And I believe if them can unlock that, the coaching is there. Craig Butler do a phenomenal job at Mona. Now I concede many goals. I think they only concede like 3 or 4 goals for the whole season. They are unbeaten to this point. So who am I to even be giving them recommendations or suggestions? But really and truly, this Mona team, if them can play a bit more freely, if them can play with a bit more of a smile collectively on their faces, if them can play with a bit more encouragement to their teammates, I think we'll see much more from this Mona High School team. But that's as far as I'll go today. People, team features drop next week. Probably start Sunday, probably start Monday, but we have them a load up already. In fact, one up on private already, and it's just a wait for go now. You see me? We cover a few schools. We are talking about all of them coming, especially in the last 8. We're gonna try to get as much of them as possible, if not all of them. You see me? If you like this video, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to this or that Sports TV, and do one more thing for me, though, and that's to share the video to at least 10 people. But get us 6 subscribers, because if each and every one of you guys can manage to do that, do you know how many subscribers that would get us by the end of the day? But for now, this was this or that Sports TV. Magan.